Welcome to Hot Topics, sponsored by the Arizona Chapter Associated General Contractors, bringing you industry leaders and public policy experts on issues that affect your business, you, and your family. Enjoy the show.
Well, thanks for having me, David. It's a pleasure to be here with you today, and a pleasure to talk about some of the stuff. I think, while we may have disagreed on the means, our goals have always been the same, and that's to do what's best in building the infrastructure and the needs for the citizens of the great state of Arizona, and providing good paying jobs for the folks that live here in Arizona.
Well, speaking about jobs, it's one of the reasons why you're here is to talk about energy parks. Give our members a sort of a breakdown of what we're talking about as far as energy parks.
Yeah, with the energy parks, we've got a great demand for energy coming to our state. Excuse me, and the Arizona Public Service has said that in the next 10-15 years they're going to need 10,000 megawatts, an increase over what they have right now, 10,000 megawatts of electricity. That's the kind of needs that we're facing. So, and then we're also facing from the feds the regulations that they're pushing, where they're trying to discourage the use of coal-powered generating plants. Arizona relies a lot on coal-powered generation. If we're no longer able to use that, we've got to find other sources of energy to fill that need. And what we're looking at, of course, a lot of folks are talking about solar power. We're a beautiful state. We have a lot of sunshine. That seems to make sense. The other side of that is wind. We don't have as much wind in this state as they do in the Midwest, but there are places in the state where that makes some sense. We're looking at nuclear power. Nuclear power is a very clean and efficient way of producing energy, and it can produce an awful lot of it, and it's very dependable. And so those are some of the things that we're looking at. There's also other things that are out there, biomasses that they're able to create biodiesel to run generators on. So there's other things that we're talking about there to create energy. So what the energy parks would do is it would allow these different sources of energy, these new sources of energy. I wouldn't call nuclear a new source, but the solar and the bio and the wind to form together and create a park. A park could be a contiguous land mass where it's all in the same basic location, all these different sources are, or it could be where you might have a wind farm up further north where that makes more sense, and a solar field down here, and then a nuclear power plant used as a baseload generation to those two sources of energy. And the reason you need baseload power, of course, is because solar power and wind, the sun goes down at night. You got cloudy days like we're seeing with some of the rainstorms that we've had come in and snowstorms, and it doesn't blow all the time. So while those sources of power are great, clean, and continually renewing themselves, you still need to have a baseload for when they're not able to generate electricity, and nuclear is a great way, a clean way of producing that baseload power. And so you put them all together and form a park, and the idea of the park is to help those sources come together and to be able to build those more quickly and to provide that energy need for the state and new jobs.
Well, why is legislation needed? I mean, what are the components of the legislation that will help bring the energy parks together?
Well, I think a couple of reasons. One, the parks take a lot of land. I mean, when you look at solar fields, I think the figure is it takes 6 acres to produce 1 megawatt of power, and so you're going to need a lot of land to produce power from solar power. Same with the wind fields. It takes a lot of land. So land prices are expensive. Their property tax is expensive. So we want to make sure that we're incentivizing those sources of energy to come here to this state. Nuclear power and all these sources are very expensive to build. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that We are producing the incentives that allow them to come here. Some of those incentives would be less regulation. Some of those incentives could be some incentives that give them some of their money back as they produce these dollars for the state of Arizona.
You keep talking about nuclear, and you know the critics are always talking about the nuclear waste and the disposal. And earlier you and I had a conversation about how much cleaner nuclear is today than it was 30, 40 years ago. Could you explain that to our members?
Yeah, I think the idea is that nuclear has always been a clean source. It's a lot safer now than what it has been over the last 50 years. And of course, the United States has a very good track record of safety with nuclear power here in the United States. We have never lost a life with any of the nuclear power accidents. Even the 3 Mile Island issue, they're still generating electricity from nuclear power at 3 Mile Island. So there are a lot of those safety features that are built in. I think the world and the United States are starting to realize that it really is a safe source of power, and it's very clean, and it's very inexpensive when you look at the overall production of how much you can get out of the life of a nuclear power plant. The Europeans, the French, have been really the leaders in producing nuclear power for their electric energy needs over the last 50 years, and about 80% of their power comes from nuclear energy, and they build nuclear power plants right in long towns, inside towns, and in population areas there, because it is so safe. There are several redundancies in it, so it's a very safe and it's a very clean power source.